Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is big news, and I mean really big. The federal government just announced a financial relief package that includes a $3,000 one-time payment plus an additional $200 monthly increase for Social Security, SSI, and SSDI recipients. This is exactly the kind of relief millions of Americans have been waiting for, especially with inflation still putting pressure on fixed incomes. If you rely on any of these benefits, or you have family members who do, you'll want to stay with me until the end because I'm going to break down exactly who qualifies, how this money will be distributed, and most importantly, when you can expect to see it hit your account. There's also some specific paperwork requirements that could delay your payment if you don't handle them correctly, which I'll cover later in the video. Here's what we're covering today. First, I'll explain the details of this new relief package and where it came from. Then I'll break down both parts, the one-time payment and the monthly increase. After that, I'll walk through eligibility requirements, timelines for distribution, and finally, I'll share some practical advice on what you should do right now to make sure you don't miss out. So what exactly happened? Last week, Congress passed the Economic Security for Vulnerable Americans Act after months of debate. The President signed it into law yesterday, making this relief package official. This legislation emerged in response to the persistent financial struggles many seniors and disabled Americans face, even after the previous cost of living adjustments that simply haven't kept pace with real living expenses. The Social Security Administration has been directed to implement two major changes. First, a one-time economic impact payment of $3,000 for qualified beneficiaries, similar to the stimulus payments during COVID but specifically targeted to those on fixed federal benefits. Second, a permanent $200 increase to monthly benefit payments for SSI, SSDI, and traditional Social Security recipients, which represents the most significant boost to these programs in decades. According to the SSA Commissioner's statement yesterday, this package addresses the growing gap between benefit levels and the actual cost of living for our most vulnerable citizens. The $200 monthly increase acknowledges that previous adjustments have not been sufficient to maintain quality of life for beneficiaries. Let's focus first on that $3,000 one-time payment. This isn't just another COLA adjustment, it's an acknowledgement that inflation has hit fixed-income Americans particularly hard. The payment is designed as immediate relief, while the monthly increase works its way through the system. Here's who qualifies. If you currently receive Social Security retirement benefits, Supplemental Security Income, SSI, or Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI, you're likely eligible. The payment is not income-based within these programs, meaning if you qualify for the program, you qualify for the full payment. There's no sliding scale or partial payments. According to the Treasury Department's implementation plan, these payments will begin rolling out next month. The distribution will follow a similar pattern to previous stimulus payments. Direct deposit recipients will receive payments first, likely starting around June 15th. Those who receive benefits via Direct Express cards will be in the second wave, expected by July 1st. Paper check recipients will be in the final group, with checks mailed throughout July and August. One important note, despite what you might have heard elsewhere, you do not need to apply for this payment if you're already receiving benefits. The SSA will use the information they already have on file. However, and this is crucial, if you've moved or changed banks recently and haven't updated your information with SSA, you need to do that immediately through your My Social Security account online or by contacting your local Social Security office. Now let's talk about the permanent $200 monthly increase. This is actually the more significant part of the package in the long run, as it will continue benefiting recipients for years to come. The current average Social Security retirement benefit is about $1,790 per month. Adding $200 brings that to nearly $2,000 monthly, a difference that can cover a utility bill, groceries for the week, or help with prescription costs not covered by Medicare. For SSI recipients, who typically receive much less, the federal maximum is currently $943 per month. This $200 increase represents a boost of more than 20% to their monthly income. That's meaningful change for people living on extremely tight budgets. The Department of Health and Human Services estimates that this monthly increase will help approximately 65 million Americans, including 48 million retired workers and their dependents, 7.5 million disabled workers and their families, 7 million SSI recipients, many of whom are elderly or disabled with limited resources. The monthly increase will take effect starting with September benefit payments, which most recipients will receive in October. Unlike the one-time payment, this increase will be automatically calculated into your regular benefit amount. You'll simply see a higher deposit than usual. Now, I need to be transparent about something. The SSA is already warning about potential delays in implementation. The agency has been dealing with staffing shortages and outdated computer systems for years. In testimony before Congress last month, SSA officials requested additional funding specifically to handle this new program without disrupting regular operations. The timeline they've provided is late May to mid-June, system updates and testing, mid-June to July, one-time payment processing begins, August, benefit recalculations for monthly increases, September, first increased monthly payments issued. If you haven't received your one-time payment by August 15th, the SSA recommends checking your payment status through your My Social Security account before contacting their already overwhelmed phone lines. There are a few specific situations worth mentioning. First, for the approximately 3 million people who receive both Social Security and SSI benefits, you'll still receive just one $3,000 payment, not two. The monthly increase, however, will apply to both benefit calculations. Second, for those who receive benefits on behalf of someone else like representative pays for disabled adults or children, the payment will be issued to you but must be used for the beneficiary's needs, following the same rules as regular benefits. Third, for new beneficiaries, if you applied for benefits recently but haven't started receiving them yet, you'll still qualify for these increases as long as your application is approved and your benefits begin before August 1, 2025. Fourth, there's no impact on Medicare premiums or other benefit programs. This increase has been specifically designed not to affect eligibility for Medicaid, SNAP benefits, or housing assistance. The legislation includes provisions preventing this additional money from counting toward resource or income limits for other programs. Looking at this relief package in context, it represents a significant shift in how Social Security and disability benefits are being approached. For years, advocates have pointed out that the standard cost of living adjustments haven't kept pace with the unique inflation pressures faced by seniors and disabled individuals, particularly in healthcare, housing, and food costs. The Congressional Budget Office estimates this package will cost approximately $175 billion over the next 5 years. Proponents argue this is money well spent, directly supporting vulnerable Americans and immediately circulating back into the economy. Critics have raised concerns about long-term funding stability for these programs, though the legislation includes provisions to strengthen the Social Security Trust Fund through adjusted payroll tax caps for high-income earners. Rather than getting into the political back and forth, let's focus on what matters most, what this means for real people. For a retired couple both receiving the average benefit, this package means an extra $6,000 upfront plus $400 more every month going forward. That's potentially life-changing for seniors who've been cutting back on essentials or draining savings to make ends meet. For someone with disabilities living on SSI alone, this increase could be the difference between stable housing and homelessness, or between adequate nutrition and skipping meals. The financial precarity many beneficiaries face is real and immediate. From an economic perspective, this injection of funds into the economy is substantial. Social Security recipients typically spend their benefits quickly out of necessity, which means most of this money will flow directly back into local economies across the country. The Joint Economic Committee estimates this could generate approximately $100 billion in economic activity within the first year, supporting thousands of jobs and businesses nationwide. The multiplier effect of directing funds to those most likely to spend it immediately is well-established economic theory. Some financial analysts have expressed concern about inflationary pressure from this spending, but most economists I've consulted suggest the targeted nature of the benefits, and the staggered implementation makes significant inflation unlikely. The Federal Reserve has indicated they're monitoring the situation but don't anticipate needing to adjust interest rate policies in response. So there you have it, a $3,000 one-time payment coming this summer, followed by a permanent $200 monthly increase to Social Security, SSI, and SSDI benefits starting this fall. This represents the most substantial enhancement to these programs in decades and addresses long-standing concerns about benefit adequacy. If you receive any of these benefits, the most important things to do right now are: make sure your contact information and direct deposit details are up to date with the Social Security Administration. Create or log into your My Social Security account at ssa.gov to easily track your payments. Be alert for potential scams. Remember, the SSA will never call to ask for personal information to process these payments. I'll be following this story closely and will update you if there are any changes to the timeline or implementation. If you have specific questions about your situation, your best resource is always the SSA directly through their official channels, not third-party websites or social media posts. That's what we know for now about this massive relief package. I hope this information helps you plan and prepare for the financial boost coming your way. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.